Hi, I'm Lieutenant Tiffany Nielsen, Public Information Officer for the Minnesota State Patrol. I'm also here with Kevin Gutnick, the Communication Director for MnDOT. We're going to give you an update on what we're seeing with conditions, driving conditions around the state of Minnesota today, update on some crash numbers, and update on road closures. Throughout the state, especially south of the St. Cloud line, we have seen very poor driving conditions. These conditions include heavy snow-packed roadways, blowing and drifting snow, and less than a quarter-mile visibility in some areas. These conditions are treacherous and dangerous and not ideal for driving. And it could be worse if you're stranded in a vehicle in these conditions. We're asking that the public not drive in these conditions until the roadway conditions improve and the weather improves. Please stay where it's safe. Please do not make any unnecessary trips unless it's an emergency, and wait for conditions to improve before you resume normal travel activity. Our troopers are out working, and we've called in additional troopers to augment the staffing due to the increased call load. The goal of the troopers will be to help stranded motorists to get them out of unsafe conditions as quickly as possible, responding to crashes and calls for service, and helping any stranded motorists that are out there. Please help them do their jobs by not becoming one of our statistics today, one of our calls for service. In the event you do become stranded in these conditions, remain in your vehicle and call 911. Our troopers, deputies, officers around the state will respond to assist you. You're going to be safer inside your vehicle. Do not try to walk for help in these conditions. The conditions are not going to be conducive to that, and as darkness comes in, it's going to be hard to see you as nighttime falls. If you have to remain in your vehicle for an extended period of time and you're able to have heat, make sure you keep your exhaust line clear, crack a window so you're able to have fresh air in that vehicle as well. As we have several hours of these poor driving conditions ahead of us, we're asking for the public's cooperation and help in making sure that everyone in Minnesota remains safe and their families remain safe tonight. Just to give you an update on crashes we've responded to since 6 a.m. this morning, the State Patrol has responded to 175 crashes. 20 of those crashes have had injuries, and of those 20 injuries, 2 have been serious injury crashes. There's been no fatal injuries today. 108 vehicles have gone off the road or spun out, and we expect both of those statistics to go up here as we get through the evening rush hour. And in the serious injury crashes, one was a head-on collision and one was a rollover crash. Kevin Gutnick will come up and talk about road closures, but I will add that when a roadway is closed and you drive past the barriers onto the roadway, it is a misdemeanor offense. If you get stranded, you will be responsible for paying any recovery expenses that come from disobeying that order to stay off that roadway. Okay, Kevin?
Thank you, Lieutenant. This afternoon, MnDOT closed some roadways in the south and south central part of the state. Essentially, the boundary lines, if you will, are 35W or I-35 south to the Iowa border is open. Highway 14 from Owatonna to the west is open, but everything that goes south and west from there is closed. So what that means is I-90 is closed from I-35 to the South Dakota border. I have a news release here that lays out the counties, and that closure began at 2 p.m. and it will be in place until the roads are passable. The reason that we close roads, and what closing roads means, is we've pulled the plows off the road. Now here today, behind us, you see snow falling down and it looks pretty bucolic. But out in greater Minnesota, there are blizzard winds and the visibility is almost, if not completely, zero. And there are issues with drifting because of the amount of snow that's falling. So we urge motorists to not travel in that area of the state right now. And we will get the plows back on the road as soon as it's safe for them to operate. If the plows can't see, they can't operate safely. And if a plow can't operate safely on a road, certainly a car or a truck that doesn't have a plow should probably not be on those roads either. Here in the metro area, we have crews out. They're working hard. They're moving the snow as fast as they can. With this particular kind of snow, what happens is the snow comes in, hits the road, and if we don't get to it fast enough, it starts to become compacted by the traffic. And as the day progresses into rush hour, we're going to find that we have a lot of compacted snow out there on much of the system. So that's going to cause slippery conditions. Folks need to pay attention to that and to slow down. We will have our crews out. but we can only move as fast as the traffic is moving. So it's gonna take us some time to get the roadways cleared. Motorists need to be cognizant of that, and they need to slow down and take their time. In Greater Minnesota, crews will be out until late tonight and then out again early tomorrow morning. Again, the issue with the areas where we've closed roads has to do with visibility. So when the wind drops or the snow stops, we'll be able to get out there and clear those roads and open them up once again. I think that's all I have, except that to once again urge motorists, you need to slow down and take your time. It's better to get there slow than to go in the ditch, and it's gonna be a lot cheaper too. Are there any questions?
This is not my question, but from my colleagues back at the station, they want to know if you had any reports of, from police of people who are out and videotaping their accident, taking pictures of the snow, and that kind of stuff.
So the question is, have we taken calls or other police agencies about motorists stopping to video the roadway, the conditions? We haven't taken any complaints, but I can certainly tell on social media there's a lot of drivers out there doing that. We do not want anyone to exit their vehicles on a day like today. There's a high risk of vehicles sliding into them. You have no protection as a pedestrian, and what could be a non-issue could suddenly become a serious or fatal injury crash. Drivers need to stay in their vehicle, put the distractions away, slow down, and get to their destination safely.
I mean, there was a Minneapolis police officer who said they were not sure on the details of it was the car pulled off to the side of the road or details. Can you talk about the move over and how much more important that becomes on days like today?
Yes, so the question is about the move over law and what the hazards that both police, fire, ambulance, MnDOT, and tow truck drivers really are all dealing with. All those types of personnel have to be out on these road condition days. There's an incredible increase in calls for service, which means more time and hours spent on the side of the road. Drivers need to move over, move a lane away, allow a safety buffer for those personnel to work. Reducing your speed in advance of that is the best way to make you slow down safely and be able to move over safely without losing traction. So really be cognizant, be aware, scanning eyes to the horizon and reducing your speed just by taking your foot off the gas as soon as you see emergency lights ahead.
Kevin, same kind of concept for plow drivers. What do drivers need to do to make sure that they're staying out of the plow driver's way and not interfering with them trying to clear the road?
You bet. Motorists need to give plows room to work. A plow is a very large vehicle. We've got some graphics that we pushed around on social media that shows it's 15 to 17 times the size of your average car. So if a car and a snowplow collide, the car's probably not going to win. Folks need to give snowplows a good couple hundred feet. I think maybe the law is 500 feet. The law is 500 feet. And you should never pass a plow and drive into the cloud of snow that's on the side, because you don't know what's on the other side of that cloud. And we've had more than one incident over the years where somebody's crashed into somebody else because they're going through that snow cloud. The other thing is, when you're driving behind a plow, you're on plowed road. When you pass a plow, you're on unplowed road. So it kind of makes sense that you may want to stay on the plowed road.
Okay, and then for update on crash numbers, I'll put a tweet out at 9 p.m. for an update, second update for the day.
Okay.
All right, thank
We'll-
you.
We'll push out a release when we open the roads too, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other road closures expected in the metro or?
No, nothing in the metro. We're not having the same wind in the metro that we have in Greater Minnesota, so we're good. We just need time to get at the snow.
Gotcha. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, thank you.